in just a second. B-roll.
Ben Collective brings together those entities, those being the people, through their story. Perhaps just one lesson may have the capacity to change your life.
All right, now to start. Now the pressure is on me. Josué.
Hello, everybody.
We met about a year and a half ago, I would say, a year and a half ago. I met him through work at Petland. He has a beautiful fish tank. Beautiful. I saw it.
Thank you.
Through dealing with an issue with him, I got to know him a little bit better, talking to you about the fish at the start. And then I saw a post on Instagram from you where you were talking about, I think you were in Nunavut at the time.
That's correct.
And
with Chris Holland.
Yeah, filming.
Filming.
And I was fascinated because I was like, I don't know how this popped up in my recommendations, but I saw this person who I knew for fish and he was using camera equipment. I was like, this is interesting. And so I remember I mentioned that to you while you were in the store at one point, and after that, ever since then, we started talking and communicating, and now I'm in your home and we're talking on the camera, and we're working on telling stories together through empathy.
Super cool.
It's crazy how that happened. So,
I don't want you to go to Calgary.
No, I know.
Here.
It's 7 days. It's scary.
Oh my goodness.
So, I wanted to sit down and talk with you before I did leave, sadly, and get to know why you tell stories, get to know what prompted you to start Empathy Café. So I guess to start, you tell stories. You've been telling stories for a while, telling stories about people. What about the people makes you want to tell the stories? Like what makes you like telling stories? I know you have your saying where
everybody's got a story that can change your heart.
Mm-hmm. So with that, how did that turn into storytelling? Is that something you've already, you always told stories from?
Yeah, well, it's been about 20 years. It was 18 or 19 years ago that I heard a song by Amanda Marshall. Everybody's got a story that can break your heart. And I changed it into the change your heart, right? So first of all, it is my personality to want to know what's behind the face I see, what is behind the uniform. So it is my passion to know the person. I love knowing. I love knowing this story. I don't know why, but I love knowing. And having that attitude has brought many interesting circumstances where we have developed friendships that they are lasting today. That's how we started, right? So exactly this situation with our friendship, I've done many, many times in these 20 years, just because I love getting to know people, to know the story behind their face. And then learning all these stories and making, when you learn a story about somebody, then you understand why they act one way or the other. Then you say, oh, it makes sense. I'm not going to judge this person. I cannot judge this person because now I know the context, right? So from there, I developed this passion of telling people, guys, look behind the uniform. Get to know the story of that person. Because it's amazing what you can discover. It's amazing the stories and the friendships that you can develop with people that usually are your cashiers, your baristas, your managers, your whatever, right? So how do I tell people, look behind the faces when I tell stories? So I put a face and a story. And by showing that to my friends, to my followers on Facebook or on social media, I'm giving them an opportunity to think, wow, I would have never thought of that. I want to try to do the same.
And without judgment and labeling too, because it's just the face.
Exactly. You learn when 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 you look behind. I mean, beyond the face, you learn to love first and to label never. Because if you label a person, as soon as you label the person, it is very difficult to change your mind. So the idea is to learn the story behind, love the person, label never.
And I think labeling and judgment is something that naturally we do, and everybody does it. And
Yes.
you think about like experiences where, well, okay, so like thinking about our experience, where you went behind the uniform, we went like you got to meet me, and you found out who I am as a human being. One thing that we were discussing is that the impact you had on me and my colleagues after you left. For the rest of the day that day, no matter what happened, we'd have a smile, right? And that's one thing that I don't even know if you realize that impact, but
I didn't.
but it was a serious, like a true thing that was happening. And
That is so cool.
so I know Starbucks is a wonderful, it has a big significance in your life.
Yeah.
And is there like, I guess, is there a time where you judged someone and you were able to later find their heart? And is there like...
Yeah, this happened. I was telling him earlier before the camera started rolling. When I lived in Vancouver, there was this gas station that was just close to my house. So I would go there always. And there was always one person, and you had to pay at the counter. You couldn't pay, you had to pay at the counter. And he would never look at your eyes. He was always serious and talking on the phone in this strange language. So I didn't like the dude. Honestly, I was so judgmental. I said, what a poor customer service. If I could talk with his boss, I would tell him that this guy doesn't help you with your business, you know? But it was all in my side. I didn't talk with anybody. It was all in my mind. And one day, late at night, I was the only customer. And I went there to pay. And he was looking down, not looking at my eyes, putting somebody on hold on the phone. And I thought, I'm going to talk. I need to know what's going on with this guy. And honestly, I don't remember how I started the conversation. But we talked for probably an hour or so that day. And it happened that he was a highly educated university professor back in his country. And he had left everything, moved to Canada, started that business. He was the business owner, operator, cleaner, everything. He didn't have enough money to pay other workers. So rarely there was somebody there helping him. So then I understood why he was always so tired, so serious, and on the phone with his family. And from that day, we became friends. So every time I went there, I would wait for the other customers to leave so I could have some time to talk with him in that very little cubicle, you know. So there I judged first. And oh man, I'm so sorry I judged him. Because behind that uniform, there was a wonderful person, suffering and lovely.
And he had that, he was able to change you and your heart, I'd imagine, which is wonderful.
To the day, I remember that when I'm tempted to judge somebody, I remember that person.
It's interesting how that works. And you have that one experience that changes you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So Starbucks baristas, I know you're very close with them.
Yeah, I'm a Starbucks evangelist.
Yeah. I'm converting. Tim Hortons. Sorry, Tim Hortons. So how have you found the heart? Like how have you been able to find the heart beneath the uniform in those? I know you're there a lot more often than you're there almost every day, right?
Yeah, every weekday and oftentimes during the weekend as well.
So how have you been able to, what significance, I guess, do they have?
Okay, so let me tell you how it all started. I've been working as a pastor for 20 years now. I'm not working at this moment, but I was 20 years, and always with my members, my church members, right? And it's like almost like a petting my sheep. As a pastor, as a shepherd, petting my sheep. And one day I thought, you know what? I'm tired of this. I want to know people. I want to love people that don't have a, how can I say this? An interest or a link to my job. Because when I'm working as a pastor, I see them as members. I try to see them as friends, and I have friends, but there is always that pastor-member situation, right? So I said, I want to love people without any agenda. And I used to go every morning to Starbucks just to get a coffee. I would order it on the mobile order, and stop, take it, and go to my office. And I spend the day in my office in the basement. No, it's not in the basement. In my office at church, with nobody around, on the computer. So I said, no, this is it. I want to love people without an agenda. And I went to Starbucks. I moved my office to Starbucks. So every work day, I would spend 4, 5, 6 hours at Starbucks, because I brought my computer, and all my work, all my office work as a pastor, I did it everything at Starbucks. My meetings at Starbucks, except the board meeting that is like 20 people. I couldn't bring 20 people. Yeah. But if there were 3, 4, 5 people, I said, come to Starbucks. I'll pay for the drink. And every time they came, I would introduce them to my baristas. Right. So I just love them. And so when I go to Starbucks, for example, I've always told the baristas that they are extremely important, because they don't know the person that comes through the doors, by the doors. They don't know their story. They don't know if they are having a horrible day, if they are losing a loved one, if they have problems at work. They have no idea of what is behind the person that comes into Starbucks. But this person comes in, and there they are with a smile. And these people, these baristas, my friends, they are genuine people. They are not, they are trained to be nice, but they are genuinely nice. And that smile, that small conversation that sometimes they have with a client makes a difference in the day. So I always tell them that, so they know how important they are. And in my case, I struggle with mental health, right? So there are stages, there are phases in my years, in my life, that they are very dark, very, very dark. And I am going through one now, and I've been going through some of this in the last couple of years. So I go to Starbucks, and Starbucks has become my safe place. A literally safe, like a safe house, besides my home here. It's a safe place. And I can be with my friends, with my baristas. So they are making a difference in my life, because they see me beyond being a client, and they truly see me as a friend. We have beautiful conversations. So this is our true way. I see the baristas as humans, as friends, behind the uniform. Right. And they see me as a person behind the customer facade. And that works beautifully. Yeah. That's why everybody's got a story that can change your heart.
And all it takes is finding the heart.
Yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I want to talk a bit about one more note on the storytelling, and then I want to go a bit into Empathy Café. to someone who's starting in stories, they want to learn how to tell stories, is there any advice that you would give them? Anything that they may benefit from?
Yes. Yes, one that I've learned quickly. I have become so passionate about telling stories that sometimes I forget the person in front of the story. Let me explain. If you are, okay, Ben, okay, and I approach you, say, I would like to feature you in a storyteller or Empathy Cafe. I would like to tell you a story because I know quite a few people that have gone through something similar, and hearing from you will give them hope to continue, right? But that story is very difficult for the person to share, even with me. We have a trust relationship, we talk, everything like that. But what I have found is that sometimes I forget that I'm talking with a human being and I become a journalist. And that is a danger when you start having a system, modus operandi that you try to streamline to make your life easier when you post things, you know? So this time, I remember not too long ago, I had to apologize to one person. I said, I am so sorry. I pushed you there and I was insensitive. Insensitive, is that how you say that? I was insensitive. I was too task-oriented.
Right.
So that is the danger that there is when you become a storyteller and it becomes almost like institutionalized, or that
Systematic.
Systematic. Yeah, that because it has to be natural, and there are times that it's okay to not publish it.
Just be that.
Just
that
be the person for that person,
Yeah.
but not publish it.
No agenda.
The no agenda. The no agenda. Yes, you're right.
Wow. You mentioned Empathy Cafe. 2 weeks, and we're growing. We're at now four writers that are total, right? I guess 5 team members in total right now, as of this very second.
Yeah.
So why did you start Empathy Cafe?
I bought the domain empathy.cafe, I don't know, less than 2 years ago. But it's been a while since I bought it. It's something that I wanted to do. When I have this Facebook page called Josué Storyteller with over 2,000 followers, where I've been publishing scores of stories. And I wanted to change the name of the page because I didn't want to be about me, but about stories. But Facebook doesn't let me change the name. So I thought I need to create something new that doesn't have my name because I don't want it to be about me. And I want it to be a team effort. So that's what I thought about Empathy Cafe. And it's been in my mind for a couple of years. Well, now at this moment, I am on disability. I'm not working due to mental health issues. Like I have a brain fog. I cannot think properly and make decisions and figure out things. And also physical with fibromyalgia, etc. Right? So my current illness has prevented me from going places, from going to church, from talking to people. All what I'm doing now, this energy is going to take me quite a few days to recover from this. Literally. After this, I'm going to be completely out of the picture of anything for 2, 3, 4 days because it takes a lot of me to do what I'm doing right now. So when you do something on social media, when you type something, you have time to type it, right? So I'm working behind the scenes on Empathy Cafe. It takes me forever to write anything, but it's something that I can do. when you have a conversation with somebody, my mind goes blank. Like my mind has been going blank a few times during this interview. So there are a few cuts here and there. So I cannot work. But I can follow a conversation by text. I just wait 20 minutes before I answer, right? So this is allowing me, this time of work is allowing me to slowly create the back end of Empathy Café. So that's why now, and that's how it started.
Okay.
The goal. Oh. Okay, do you have 2 hours? Okay. My goal is to create Empathy Café as a storytelling platform where authors like you share your journey. I want to give opportunity to people to share their story and other people read it, right? So I want to become bigger and become a blogging platform, a storytelling platform. I want to create events. So when I feel better, or anyway, I just, yesterday became official. I have a co-founder. Her name is Sabrina Rowe. And she's going to help me to make these things happen as a COO, because I honestly don't have right now the cognitive capacity to do it, right? But eventually, but it's good to have vision. You have to have a vision, right? So I would like to do events where we rent a theater, or we rent a hall somewhere, and we bring a speaker, a writer, an author, we bring a doctor, we bring a psychiatrist, we bring somebody to tell a story, you know, or to do a workshop, and people can benefit from that.
Yeah.
You know, and more things that may sound
So
very
much.
crazy, but yeah, but that's the goal. How this started, why now, and the goal.
And it's only been 2 weeks. And it's come so
well,
far.
2 weeks that is that. It's been a long time behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But finally now is when we can get there.
I think we're at like what, almost 400 people that like it on Facebook too now.
Facebook is 386 people as of now. Hopefully more when you read this, when you watch this.
I think that covers everything. I think that was awesome. I appreciate coming on and talking and telling stories and why you share stories. It's about to stop recording, so there's empathy.cafe where what we were discussing is going to be, and then there's also his Facebook page, Josué Storyteller.
That's correct.
So links will be in the description for those to go and read some stories and to learn about people and learn about their hearts without any judgment or any reason for judgment too. So
that's right.
Thanks for
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ben.
Yeah. Thank you.
Peace and love.